I pushed the
Consent
button.
to recording. I had to go close the door because our big old fat cat just like battle rammed his way in here. I'm like, you don't even like me. Why do you want to be in here? Don't want to get left out. Meow.
All I'm envisioning is that video of the girl that busts in while the guy's at home on the TV show. She just kind of has
she's
her
just
strut
marching
going
in there.
on.
Yeah, I love that.
I like just see that cat just bulging in and just having his ass shaking both sides.
Oh yeah, he's got like the big like pooch swinging.
Right.
Yeah. He's got this chair in the basement where he just sits there and lurks in it. It's like a vinyl chair, so it's really cool. So I think that's why he comes and hangs out down here in the basement. But
funny.
Cat's life, man. Rough stuff.
Oh, cats. Something that I'm never gonna get into. I'm sorry.
I love kitties.
I can't. My
allergies aren't great about them, but I love kitties.
I'm always gonna be a dog person.
Why choose kitties and dogs?
Yeah, no. I don't like the attitude for a cat. I wanna have something or something that it appreciates me being around, and when I come home, or rub his belly, something like that. Cat, they'll just as much just try to claw your face off, just for looking at them weird.
Who hurt you?
Cats have hurt me.
Oh, I used to have the sweetest cat. Like, he would sleep with a little teddy bear with me at night, and it was really sad. Like, the last 2 years he was blind. And so because I love my cat so much, he was like 18 years old, I had Dusty put our bed on the ground, and I made like a little crash zone on the side of the bed so Pinky could still crawl in bed with me, because he was blind and old. He would just like fall out of the bed in the middle of the night and cry.
Oh my gosh.
Poor cat. I know.
That's funny.
R.I.P. Pinky.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I can have sympathy for a cat, but
I can empathize with your human feelings.
Yes, that's about as far as I can go.
Hey, we're doing a podcast, right?
We're doing a podcast. Let's do
what we can
a
get
podcast.
Into, not get into, which I guess is cats for Brett.
Yeah, we got to at least mention one thing per show, I think, that we don't get into, and that's
sure,
kind of what this ends up coming into.
I'm trying to something I cannot get into, vegan beef jerky. So we have like a little group of people at work. We're kind of foodies. We like to we make something good, we like to bring it in and share. We share recipes, and so Phil brought in this vegan jerky, which was like mushroom jerky.
Okay.
Ooh, hard pass. I think the first mistake was calling it jerky.
Yeah.
Because the texture was all wrong. It was like dried out mushrooms soaked in liquid smoke and some seasoning, and you just kept chewing it. You just kept hoping you could swallow it, but it was just there. And he's like, it's good for you. I'm like, but it tastes like ass. Like, deal breaker. Sorry. The texture, the flavor, all of it's terrible. I don't care how healthy it is.
That reminds me,
pure cancer, hard pass.
That reminds me of the type of beef jerky that my mom would buy when I was growing up.
It was on sale.
Yeah, it's just like, but it's beef jerky. I mean, you get 50 of them for $5. It's like, there's a reason.
E's in the word beef, Mom. Just eat it.
Exactly. It was the tube that had the top to it that would come off, and then it'd smell like just smoke. And
they just doused liquid smoke on it to make up for whatever shortcomings it had. Which was many.
Exactly. You couldn't really get it apart unless you just ripped it, and then it kind of tastes like shoe leather the whole time you were chewing on it.
Again, the sensation of just like chewing. Like, I need to get this over with, but I just can't chew it enough to swallow it. And you don't want to die.
Too much salt in it. It took out. Right. It was too much salt. It took out all the saliva out of your mouth. So as you're chewing it, you can't swallow it unless you had a drink with you.
Rough times, folks. We've really suffered.
Oof, yeah, absolutely.
Constantly and always.
It probably just what it did was it made me appreciate good beef jerky. That's what it really did.
I will, like, any of the guys at work that bring in like deer sticks and stuff, like, I'm the first person to line up. Like, good beef jerky, good deer sticks. I'm here for it. But mushroom stuff, just, I don't want to discourage anyone for trying it, just to try it, but like, don't commit to the big bag. Let's just say that. mean, Phil also brought in duck. He brought in duck fat caramels once.
Oh,
No, don't.
still not good.
Yeah, you're like, you want to try caramel but hate it? Great, we've got something for you. Like it was just like it had that weird duck fat taste, and then a caramel aftertaste, which just I don't know where Phil goes shopping, but I don't want to go there.
I don't know. Maybe we just turned this into the I can't get into this episode, but you mentioned duck fat. And everyone always talks about, oh yeah, duck fat fries or something with. I don't like it. I think it's overrated. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, oh, you did something special. That's great. It still tastes disgusting. Anyway, you know what?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna just keep going down this tangent, so you have to stop me.
All right, fine. You know what I can get into though? We'll talk about frying things and everything. And I don't think we've ever actually said this, but I'm going to go out and say it. For those that don't know, we're from South Dakota. This is the podcast. By the way,
now you know where we live.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason why I say that is because we have this wonderful meat called Chislic. And what I went and had Chislic the other day at a new restaurant, and one of the things I was as I was eating the Chislic, for those don't know Chislic, all it is cubes of meat that is in a fryer. That's it. That's Chislic.
Usually red meat. We don't have like a chicken Chislic or a turkey Chislic. Like fuck off with that. You'll usually have lamb, beef, venison.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, the Chislic place, whatever that place, Chislic place is in town, they do have a turkey Chislic. It's awful.
No.
However, it's just
I don't hear that.
Right. But so Chislic, it's usually a red meat. However, the thing that I always love about Chislic is having it. It's typically served in a paper
basket with
basket. There you go. Yeah, because it has all the grease in it. I mean, seriously, it seems like
high bar food for sure.
Oh, it's amazing bar food. But it sits there in this vat of grease at the bottom of this paper boat is supposed to soak up the grease, but it does not. Either that or else there's so much grease that's always end up using added with this Chislic when it comes to you. So this place that I went to had the Chislic in the bottom, and I was completely purposely eating the ones around and just leaving.
Like pool the resources here.
The pool was getting bigger in the middle, and it was making those last bits of Chislic even more tasty, even more tender. Oh.
I'm glad this isn't culminating with you actually eating the paper. Like, don't judge me, only God can judge me.
I could probably lick it. I just start licking the bottom.
My favorite thing is when you go to if you go to the Alpine, which is like right down the street from you, we should do a Chislic tasting. They usually give you like Texas toast, and you can dip the toast in the juices.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Also, we're from South Dakota, and we are total health nuts. So you don't get a physique like this, eating well. So deal with it.
As you probably could tell if you watched the video of the hoagie food tasting or hot sauce.
Or how much we talk about food and alcohol. Like, we're kind of into that.
All right, so I'm going to kind of take a low blow, actually, and it's only a low blow just because it's South Dakota, it's food, it's local, and everything. However, I will say we do have I think it's next week is the annual Chislic Festival that's in Freeman, South Dakota.
Yeah, Freeman. I've never been. It sounds like a good place to really push your meat consumption limit.
The thing that I always worry about going there, I've never been there myself either. However, I've always worried about I would have to go with like $500 in my pocket, and cheap. It would be all wasted on fried meats.
I'll have to look this up, but I thought last year they sold out of Chislic. There were so many people that all the vendors sold out. And I was like, how pissed should you be? We're driving to Freeman because there is fuck all else in Freeman. So you get there for Chislic, you get one Chislic to try, and then they're all out.
Yeah. So it was 2 years ago. They didn't have it last year because of
Mhm.
COVID. But yeah, they did run out of Chislic by like 6 o'clock at night. Because yeah, they didn't have enough meat, they didn't have enough vendors,
Ugh, so
and
many meat butts.
they didn't have
Going.
a space big enough to be able to house everyone. So, I mean, it's just a big beer garden or whatever, but it was at capacity. I don't know how you get at capacity for some large outdoor venue like that, but it was. And so they're just like, yeah, we need to make sure. And so this year they're going to make sure that they're going to have enough meat and enough space for, I think it was like 15,000 people. I mean,
Nice.
so which is
Which is
roughly
bonkers.
six
But
times larger than the city itself.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But hey, hopefully they can pull it off. Like more people eating Chislic. It's delicious. Who
yeah,
doesn't love a food that's best consumed with a toothpick?
you're right. That was the one thing about this place that I went to. It was a new place in
They give
town,
you
and
a fork and a knife.
they gave, yeah, there wasn't a
Blasphemy.
toothpick. It wasn't a toothpick. See, this is where you can tell that we are true connoisseurs. We need to have a toothpick, and we need to have garlic salt.
Yes, that
So
is a
they,
requirement.
they didn't have garlic. Well, I'll say I
Upon
didn't
request.
ask for it. I was doing it the way that, the first time I order something, I always order things the way that they have it, just to
Yeah.
to see what it's like. It's a new place in town. And so yeah, so it was seasoned with garlic salt. It was seasoned with some coarse brown pepper too, or black pepper too, which isn't
Well,
typical.
no,
I mean,
but
it's a seasoning for meat, but not for Chislic usually. Chislic is usually pretty salty, but it didn't come with its own garlic salt.
yeah, there's that urban Chislic place in town. It's kind of like high end Chislic.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
I was thinking about before. The urban
yeah,
Chislic. They're
they
the
just
ones
like
that have the turkey Chislic.
yeah, they're kind of like if Buffalo Wild Wings wanted to open up like their own franchise with Chislic. So it just kind of I don't know. Like I said, it feels very hollow and corporate to me. So if you want to
It's
get good
terrible.
Chislic, you really should just go to a bar.
Well,
You
and
go to
here's
like
the
a
other
hole in the
part.
wall bar in a small town, you're gonna get some of the best Chislic.
Oh
Hands down.
yeah, absolutely. If the town is 1,000 people or less and they have Chislic in it, that's gonna be the best
Oh
Chislic.
yeah.
Yeah. The thing that urban Chislic does that just annoys me to no end too. This is supposed to be this place for Chislic, for actual authentic Chislic. They bred the Chislic.
What?
Breaded Chislic. It's ridiculous.
It
You
is like
don't
if Buffalo
bread
Wild
Chislic.
Wings made Chislic.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Because like,
Yeah.
we'll toss it in some sauce. I'm like, no,
No, you do
we're gonna
not
serve it in a
toss.
plate, no paper basket. No.
Right. Yeah, when I went to Urban Chislic,
Don't
they're
try to
just like, oh,
elevate
and
my
what
garbage
sauces
food.
do you want with that? It's like sauces. You don't get sauces.
Baby ranch to like dip my fries that come with it, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
can't. No.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah. There's multiple things that turns me off to Urban Chislic, but yeah. Anyway, so let's hear your segue.
Speaking of meat,
Yeah.
I've been really getting into the Fear Street movies.
Oh, gosh, I
I've been
want to
putting them
see
off
those.
because I just haven't had time to sit there and watch them. And also, like, I don't know about you guys, but like R.L. Stine kind of raised me. It's like part of my DNA. The Goosebump books and the Fear Street books, like all that stuff, I just gobbled up as a teen. And so like I even still have like the first book from like that they referenced in the movie. I was like, ee! Like I paused the movie this weekend to go get my book and post it on Twitter, like, look, I still have the book, which is terrible. Like it's full of typos. I don't remember the writing being that bad, but I was like 13, whatever. So I've only watched the first one because I'm kind of like trying to savor them, trying to do one a week with the three, but so much fun. Yeah. If you haven't checked out the Fear Street movies on Netflix, they're great. Even if you weren't a fan of the series, it's not that you're really gonna miss anything. But yeah, between the nostalgia and just like the slasher feel, like I love slasher movies, so
Right.
yeah.
I saw it on Netflix and I really wanted to watch it. I haven't been able to find the time to be able to do it, and a part of me is a little a little nervous. But if you're saying that it was good, a fun time, that makes me feel better.
It still has a
Because
lot of the
I'm
bubblegum kind of atmosphere, if that makes
okay.
sense. Like it's not heavy horror by any means. It's still
Sure.
gory and silly in
Oh,
equal measures. So
that's
I
the
think that
best.
works.
So
Um,
it seemed like it took a more this is a bad way of saying it, but a more serious approach than the Goosebumps movie.
yeah, I mean it's based on the Fear Street book series, which I don't know if you ever read those. They were kind of um like R.L. Stein's books geared towards like teens. So
Yeah,
it's definitely more like the more adult horror.
right.
Um, so it's less
I did
goosebumpsy.
read them, but it was, when I was a
Yeah,
kid, and I haven't reread
lots of
them in a
stuff
long
about
time.
witches and demon possession and stuff. And so I think it's a neat format, and it's something I really hope like more streaming services kind of look at for storytelling, because it's 3 movies and they're all like this interconnected universe. So it's not like a full series. Each movie could be watched as a standalone piece. But I kind of like how it builds this richness. So you start in, the early 90s, and then the next one is, I think it's in the 70s. And then the next one's like in the 1800s. So you're kind of,
1600,
yeah,
1666.
1600s. So yeah, you're like going back
Yeah.
in time to see the origin, and yeah, like that storytelling layering I think is really fun. So I'm excited to watch the next installment this weekend. And just yeah, it's also just kind of fun for some like the 90s nostalgia stuff. The only thing I was just kind of like groaning about was like the first 15 minutes. Like they're really laying on heavy, just like, hey man, we're gonna play every 90s song that's gonna get you in the feels, like whether
Oh,
it makes sense to play or not. Like I felt like they were really shooting their wad in the first 15 minutes, which is like, yeah, here's some Bush. You think that's great? Well, here's some cranberries. You remember this? Like, yeah. But it's fun. I mean, like you said, it creates atmosphere. I really enjoy that one of the main characters is, in a lesbian relationship. So it's doing some representation to groups of people that aren't normally at the center of movies, and especially in horror movies. Generally like your LGBT characters are vilified or the butt of jokes. So to have them have like a dimensional relationship and have that be a center point, I think is pretty cool.
that is really cool. It's something that it also, I don't think it was, I think it was like a TV 14 too. So I mean, it's something that teams could still watch.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
yeah.
and there is some pretty graphic deaths. I mean, like I said, it is definitely a slasher film. Like there's a scene in a grocery store that has a bread slicer, and this chick's head goes in it, and they're like
Oh,
playing it up like slow, and I'm just like, oh, are they gonna? Oh, they show it.
they actually do. That's
Yeah, so
awesome.
it's great.
Oh my
So I'm just
gosh,
like,
I'm
I'm here
excited
for
now.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was that
I
person.
love.
Dusty would probably throw up. He's not much for gore, but like, I guess that kind of silly gore. Because I'm like, your hair might get stuck in it, but like a bread machine's probably not going to kill you, like
Right.
realistically. But
Whenever
that's
you
okay.
have blood shooting at least 3 feet away, that's the type of unrealistic gore that I absolutely love.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I love it. It's yeah, that sounds like it's something definitely for me then.
Yeah,
Uh
and at least like I'm like somebody was just recently saying like we're halfway to Halloween, and just like yay! So I'm definitely all for celebrating early and getting some horror movies in.
right. If as long as we can get into fall and get away from this heat of the summer,
Oh
that's
god,
that's
this
where
heat
it
is
comes
just
down to.
oppressive. It is
It's
not fun.
terrible.
Dumb,
It is
dumb.
terrible, but moving on. I
Yeah,
don't
your
want to talk
turn for
about
an
the weather.
awkward segue from slasher
Yeah, yeah.
film.
So here's an awkward segue. Talking about gory things that will make you excited. I don't know. I, I'm gonna still stick with the food theme because yeah, honestly, I last week would have did a lot of travel, and so I was out and about and didn't really get into a lot other than work and driving. I drove for 1,600 miles, 1,632, I think it ended up being totaled. And yeah, it takes a lot out.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm torn. I was gonna say I'm gonna talk about food again, but you know what? I'm gonna call an audible. Instead of that, I want to talk about one of the things that I really enjoyed when I was on the road. And it's podcasts, obviously. But there was one podcast. Actually, there was 2 podcasts that I listened to that were brand new to me, and were phenomenal. The whole time I was listening to them, I had a smile on my face, and it was just great. And more about, how I like podcasts, or the types of podcasts I like. Typically ones that are kind of self-help ones, ones that will make you smile and kind of chuckle along, because you can completely relate to with the absurdity of what is going on, and
Mhm.
you've completely been there. So that was one podcast, and then the other podcast is one that just kind of talks about really fun things, like movies or video games and everything. So the first one, the kind of serious one that was, has comedic tones, is Three Questions with Andy Richter.
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah, so Andy Richter has people that comes on, and he asks three questions. And I didn't prepare for this, so let me see if I can remember what those are. The questions are: who are you? Um, where are you going? And
Where'd you get
what?
that gun? No.
Close. What have you learned?
Hmm.
So three very basic, existential, really big questions. But
Yeah.
the way that he goes about doing it, Andy is an amazing interviewer.
Oh yeah.
He just talks through and really, does a lot of research on the people that he's interviewing. Most of them are friends of his, so it's really
Mhm.
easy to be able to do it. You could really tell when there was someone that he knew against someone that he didn't know.
Oh yeah.
So there's a little bit of a disarray there, but it was amazing the people that I listened to, that how they answered the questions, and where it was. So I listened to like Judy Greer.
Ooh,
um
love
he
her.
she was one of them, and they had one with Amy, not Amy, Sedaris. Is it
Oh, Amy Sedaris. Yeah,
it,
I think
yeah, it
so.
is Amy Sedaris. Yeah, Amy Sedaris. And gosh, there was another one too that was really good. I can't think of the guy that plays Jerry on Rick and Morty.
Oh shoot, I should know this.
Um, Chris Parnell.
Yes.
There you go, Chris Parnell. And they're all very fascinating. I started listening to a little bit of um, Eric Andre too.
Oh yeah, be a good
So
one.
really interesting things. I
Hmm.
listened a little bit of Natasha Lyonne as
Mm.
well. That one was interesting, but it was also interesting because of how guarded
Hmm.
she is, and
Yeah.
you can definitely tell where some of them it's just like, are you do you go to a therapist? No, why should I go to a therapist? I have my own, weird things going on. And Andy Richter's like, I don't know about that. That's
Maybe you
I
should.
yeah, he's just like, I go to one twice a week, and he's just talks really
Just
openly about
open.
all of it. Yeah. So that one was really cool, being able to learn a little bit more. And it
And what's
was
it called again? Three questions?
Three
Or
Questions with Andy Richter.
okay, cool. I'm
Yep.
definitely gonna check it out.
Yep. And the other one is one that is kind of along the same lines of how did this get made?
Mm.
Where talking about weird and crazy movies. So that's one that I love listening to. But they have a new one that is through Earwolf, that
Hmm.
is the same company that makes How Did This Get Made, and it's called How Did This Get Played? And
Oh,
it is a podcast about really crappy video games, and talks about
nice.
the source of them. And some of them are crappy. Actually, the ones that I listened to one where they talked about Mortal Kombat,
Oh
and
yeah.
so they kind of explained everything on it. And one of the hosts grew up in the Chicago area, and so she was a hardcore arcade gamer.
Hmm.
Just loved going to arcades, everything. She used to go to a testing grounds for Midway, back in the 90s when
Hmm.
Mortal Kombat came up. And
Nice.
she had kind of a really weird perspective of it. And other games that they did that was like that. I'm drawing a blank, but it had a lot of the same feel of how did this get
Like same
made.
energy and humor.
A lot of energy, a lot of humor, a
I'll
lot
check that out.
of useless knowledge that was really fun to listen to too. You know, you kind of got a bit more of the history of that game or whatever. Oh, that's what the other one was. The other one that I listened to was Revolution X. Remember the arcade game, the shooter with Aerosmith?
Yes.
Yes. So they were
Who could
talking
forget
about
that game? Like, what the fuck?
it was it
It
was
wasn't even fun to play.
it was fun to play.
I
However,
disagree. I thought it was terrible.
what they were reviewing though was the Nintendo, the at-home version or Super Nintendo
There
or
was an
whatever.
at-home version?
There was an
Like,
at-home
I
version.
swear that game only existed in like movie theater arcades, because like the
Right,
only place I
exactly.
ever saw it was at movie theaters, and you're just like,
Yeah. So they were talking about how the theater, I mean, sorry, the arcade version was a great game, you know, other than it being kind of weird and slightly racist. But but
in the 90s?
the one at
No.
home that you had, you know, had no ability to actually have like a light gun that you could use. So like at the time, Chrono Trigger was out and had this big gun for the Super Nintendo, I think it was, and
Yeah.
you couldn't use the Chrono Trigger, and you couldn't use that gun. It had no light gun technology that supported it, and so you had to try using the control in order to be able to go around and shoot
Mashing
everything.
keys.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, that was my strategy always, anyway.
Yeah, just shoot it.
Unstoppable Mortal Kombat, be like, ha, I don't know what I'm doing, but there, fatality.
Button mashers always are the ones that won.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's like two types of people out there. The people that
Right.
like study up all the codes and like write down the cheat sheets, and then there's like the rest of us.
Yeah, just like, oh, look what I can do.
Yeah. What can I do if I sit on it? I'm beating you with my butt.
You're still beating him.
Yeah, my brothers didn't ever want me to play with them.
So that's the other thing. I got 2 podcast recommendations based off of what I listened to when I was on the road for almost 24 hours.
Yeah, I feel that. Dusty and I, we've been going out to the lake a lot, so we've been listening to podcasts on like the half-hour drive, and we just finished up a really long one. It's a podcast called Behind the Bastards. It's not usually a feel-good podcast because it's usually about like bad guys, but they usually do like one episode a year on like good guys. So we listened to a really good one on Nestor Makhnow, which was very fascinating. So for anybody who's a history nerd, there you go. Ukrainian history. Woo!
What was that name? What was that called again?
Behind the Bastards.
Okay, I'm taking my notes.
Yeah, we listened to nothing but light stuff. I also just finished listening to the 4-part one on the Black Death, the Black Plague that was the last podcast of the left did, which was very fascinating. I always enjoy their history episodes.
And the Black Plague making a comeback in Colorado right now.
You know, like you do. Everything comes back eventually.
Yeah, always does.
Which kind of makes a poor segue into my next thing I'm getting into, but I'm going to go with it anyway. So,
yeah.
Getting back into role-playing games, we just recently picked up a new game in the Arkham Horror series. So, the Arkham Horror is like they do board games and card games that are all in like the Cthulhu mythos.
Okay.
Yeah, so the new one we picked up is pretty cool. It's like a role-playing hybrid, but I thought what was really cool about it is it has like the campaigns and little booklets, and the first booklet is for like the GM, and it's really written like a choose your own adventure. So you get to play like your first game by yourself, and it teaches you how to be a GM. So I thought that was really cool because like GMing's hard. It's really, really fun, but
yeah,
as somebody who's not very crunchy or likes to follow rules or read directions, it seems like a really innovative way to kind of, you know, introduce the concept of building your own games and maintaining like a role-playing game, because that can be hard. But
so have you done any of that where you're kind of learning how to be a GM with that?
We're gonna try to play tomorrow. So
okay.
It'll be our first time playing this game before. We've played other versions of it before, like they have a card game that's kind of like you
Mm,
build a world and a story through the cards as they're played out. So you kind of have decisions based on the cards. And they also have like a traditional board game style one, which I think we tried playing with Chet, and after about like 6 hours, the world was destroyed. But we had fun trying to save it. So
that's awesome.
yeah, I really like, I feel like I totally missed the boat growing up not getting like collaborative board games. Like it wasn't until I was like 30 years old that I'm just like, oh, you can play a game where like the object is we all win. Like it seems
Right.
like such an obvious thing, and it's just so maddening. Uh,
Yeah.
like that you're the only games you play, it's just like, well, winner take all. Like this really explains a lot about our culture, doesn't it?
Right, right. Well, and I know that there's a lot of RPG or a lot of board game podcasts that are out there and everything, but I'd be interested to I know someone that owns one of the uh game stores
Oh,
in
here in
town.
town.
Yeah, so the Game Chest.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be great to be able to bring them on and
Oh
interview
yeah.
them, just talking about different board games and trying to get into those different types of things, because I agree, I never knew that that was a thing until, oh shit, I was probably almost 40 years old. I
Right.
mean, because yeah, it's just, you always, it's like, well, yeah, the idea is always just to win. That's all you got to do. It's like, no, you can have games where it's cooperative, where
Hmm.
everyone is against the game and you're trying to beat the game because the game is causing problems. And it's crazy when I think about it. It's like, oh, this must be a new thing. And then you do a real research, is like this huge thing that's out there. That'd be
Well,
interesting to get
and I
into.
think
Yeah.
it's challenging. Like, it would be great. We should definitely talk to your friends to bring them on, because I feel like, you know, I posted around on Twitter like, "Are you good at making friends? Are you good at keeping friends?" Because there's all these studies, and I talk to so many people who are, you know, like us. We're middle age, we've got family, and we have a pandemic going on, so it's really hard to make friends, and it's really hard to like keep up with people. And I think that's a really neat like niche that role playing games can create for you, is people have been
Right.
able to find community, build friendships, and it's something you can play through like mediums like this, where you can be online, you can have everything done virtually and still have games in these worlds and these complex relationships. But I think it intimidates people because, you know, if you're in your like 30s or 40s, it's like, oh well, all I'm going to find are people that are experts in this, and I don't want to be that guy that shows up that has to have everything explained to them and dumbed down because I don't know what I'm doing. And I think
Right.
like letting people know that that's okay, and that there's communities out there that are more than happy to teach you or do like one shot beginner campaigns and, you know, bring you into the fold.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I agree. Because yeah, I got introduced to that really late, and my introduction to it really was like Munchkin.
mm,
Having played this really silly game, or I can't remember the name of the other one. Like one, not what was anyway. That
Settlers of
was that.
Catan, or
No, no, not
no.
even that. It was the game where you had
Hmm,
different
I'm looking.
breeds of animals, or breeds of different things. Like there's like a werewolf pack that you can add and be the werewolves, or you can be the aliens, or you can be
I'm all curious. I'm looking.
the memes, and it's all meme thing. Gosh, yeah. So I'll just keep on fumbling through my explanation of that until I can find it. But that's one where, and it is kind of it's not everyone trying to save things, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that would be great. I'll have to see if she's available. I'm sure she'd be willing. She was someone that was I think she was a part of my kids' school,
Oh
and
yeah,
so
because they always help out or volunteer and donate to the musical and stuff.
yep,
And I
yep.
and I know Game Chest also does a monthly. They used to do it in person, and I think they're trying to get back to doing in person ones, but they do a virtual GM support group. So for people
Oh
that are
wow.
wanting to become GMs and like step up to building their own games, like it's a no pressure kind of thing. I know Dustin and I usually just kind of tune in and listen, because they give tips and people
Oh
share struggles they have. So I mean, like I said, if it's ever been, you know, maybe been a player and you've just always wanted to GM, like it's
Yeah.
another kind of safe space to meet other people and just learn stuff. So
Well, and I always wanted to get involved with them a little bit more too, because so my kids have been interested in trying to learn how to do Pokemon, but I have no idea about, Pokemon. I just think about the cards and you think about the TV games, but actually how to play the game is, I have no idea. I never did that.
right.
So yeah, so be able to do that, or else they do, a lot of magic games, that
Hmm.
where you can join in and you're in with a bunch of beginners, as opposed to the ones that have these, decks that are going to obliterate you right away. But um so yes, that's something that would be really cool to be
Yeah.
able to focus a full episode on.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, always kind of interested in hearing more new role playing games, especially if they're really laying the rules.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Well,
the
that's the
entry
nice
level
thing
is really
about.
low. Like I love Eclipse Phase Universe, but like trying to play that game is so hard.
Oh, sure.
Too many rules.
Well, when you have a book that you have like 12 pages of rules, it's just like,
A
oh,
lot of
now what do
stuff
we
at
have to
one
do
book. You
here?
need three books
Yeah,
to understand this world, and the factions and the technology, and yeah, like it's fun, but it's a little bit much.
that's ridiculous.
It's not my thing. It's not what I'm
Right.
getting into, but I try.
Yeah, but some people can definitely. Um, so my last thing that I'm getting into, I'm kind of gonna take an easy way out with this one. The Olympics are going on right now, and so it is really interesting being able to watch sports on 4 different channels at
Right?
any time during the day.
At
Um,
night,
yeah,
like
at night
24
too.
hours sports.
Right. It's been a lot of fun. The most fun that I think that's come out of that though is seeing some sports that you don't see all the time. Like
Hmm.
we were watching some jousting, or fencing, I should say,
Okay.
fencing the other day, and we were actually got into involved with a water polo
Nice.
match, being able to watch that. It's just insane. But I'll say the one sport that I really, really want to watch more of, and what I'm really getting into is handball.
Yeah, I saw you posted that on social media, and I was like, "You've never watched handball before?"
I've
I think we had to
never
learn how to play handball in like middle school.
really,
I'm pretty
I,
sure we did.
oh wow, I don't know.
It's
I don't
fun.
remember that at all.
I mean, I didn't grow up in South Dakota, so maybe it's not part of the South Dakota curriculum, but
Yeah. So and I've never been exposed to handball. I just never knew what that was. But it was just so fun to watch, because just like it's like, well, this is kind of the everything about basketball that I love, that you don't really have to dribble all the
hmm,
too often, and you can be physical, and you can, and it's just about hucking a ball into a
right?
goal as far as you can, so, or as
Yeah,
fast
it's
as you
fun.
can. Yeah. So I was just like, that would be really good to be able to get into. I could see myself really either being that center type person, which I learned is called a pivot in handball. And
Nice.
yeah, see,
You have fancy
either,
stripe too.
right, exactly. I don't know, they probably do. I didn't catch that part. But also to be able to see, I always loved being a goalie in soccer, so I figure I could see myself doing that as well. The only thing is that I'd probably want to have some kind of a face mask, not because I need to protect it. It's just I don't want my nose to all of a sudden explode
Oh
with
yeah.
blood.
I no. Getting hit in the face super sucks. I agree. Face mask for
Hmm.
sure.
I watched a rugby match, and I don't watch
Oh,
rugby
nice.
all that often, and just trying to learn more about it, because it's becoming more popular now. And
Hmm.
I know friends and some people like yourself that's played rugby in the past. And so it was funny. I was turning around, I come to this, and I was like, oh, it's a rugby match, and the first thing they have is this guy that has this gash over the top of his eyebrow, and they're
Yeah,
just like, oh yeah, that's a
that's
pretty
definitely
pretty
rugby, all right.
typical one. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
it's a
stoked
pretty
that I
simple one.
joined roller derby because it was a safer sport, and that's not too far of a stretch.
Right, right. But yeah, they're cleaning them up, and he's just like, oh, does it look bad? And as he's saying that, it's like spurting blood and coming down on, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm still
That's
bleeding.
good. Seamus will put you back in.
Right. Oh, all they did, they just put a pad on it, wrapped him around a couple of times. He had blood all
Good.
over the place, but just kept on going.
Oh my God.
I was just thinking about it, going, if anywhere in the States that you have blood on a
I was
jersey
gonna
at all,
say, what about bloodborne pathogens? Like, we're really worried about COVID, but yeah, let's just send
yeah,
this blood just streaked person back in there. What's the worst that could happen?
no, it was on like a quarter of their shirt was soaked in blood, and he just kept on playing the rest of the match. I mean, this
Wow.
was like in the first part. There's
Wow.
quarters in rugby, right? Or
He
is it
signed his
halves?
liability waiver, right? Let him go. It's good.
That's what it was.
The
I mean,
Olympics,
it was
folks.
early on in the match, and yeah, it just
Good
like
gravy.
it was crazy. It was
That's
pretty funny.
wild.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, what else you got?
Not really much else. I mean, just trying to stay cool.
Yeah, yeah, I can get into that.
Yeah,
Stay
I'm really
cool.
glad that we got the new like through the wall air conditioner this summer because I don't think our old one would have made it much longer. So we're enjoying
especially,
having air conditioning.
especially not in this heat and humidity.
Yeah, like our little house usually stays fairly cool. We've got lots of trees, but whew, it's not cooling down to anything but 80 like something at night. So
Right.
dumb
I
stuff,
was
folks.
I was in St. Louis and Kansas City, among other places last week, and everyone always has to ask me about South Dakota because everyone hears terrible things about the weather, especially the winters.
They
But
don't
no
even know
one.
how bad the summers are.
Right, exactly. And they're just like, oh, I'm sure you guys are having what's a regular summer? It's like 80 degrees right now. It's like, yeah, next week we're supposed to be at 100 degrees.
Yeah,
And
106 will be the actual temp, like the air feel temperature with humidity. So
right. Yeah, it's terrible.
what was
And
it?
they're
Somebody
just
said,
like,
hey, in 6 months it's gonna be 104 degrees cooler. So look on the bright side.
right,
Only
exactly.
in only in the Midwest, right? It's just crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So and I was so surprised last week. I was driving around. It was fairly, it was warm last week
Yeah, it
when
wasn't too hot.
wasn't too bad. It was upper 80s, lower 90s, but it wasn't too bad. And then I come to South Dakota and it was
Frank.
the humidity. I couldn't believe how much more humid it was
Which is
in
stupid
South
because we
Dakota.
haven't had rain for a
Right.
while. It's
Right.
so dry here. Like
Yeah.
poor
I
poor
don't know where
plants.
it's coming from, but
I mean, the corn. It's always heard like all the corn puts a lot of moisture in the air. Could be wrong. I don't know.
yeah.
Wasn't born and raised here, so I obviously will just believe anything anybody tells me.
Right. Exactly. Well, I will say that my mom already warned me that the corn this year isn't as full, so it's not as watery as it has been in years past because of the drought. So
Yeah, I was looking at a picture. We usually go to Lake Vermilion uh, to hang out, and I was looking at a picture from 2 years ago, and the water was like all the way up to the retaining wall, and now it's probably about 40 feet away from the retaining wall. That's how much lower the water is. Like,
oh my gosh. And just
it's
to think, not
crazy.
too long ago, they were releasing water at record, paces, trying to get something off of the dam,
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna probably keep swinging to each extreme. Yay!
Yeah. All right. It's some kind of smash something role-playing game.
Hmm. You still trying to find
Smash.
that one?
I am. It's not Smash Brothers. It's a Smash something. I thought it was Smash Up is what it was called, but
Smash up.
yeah, I'm not catching it, but yeah, it is Smash Up. It is Smash Up.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Paul Patterson Smash Up, and they have different expansion packs. So yeah, so it's basically groups of of different things that go up against each other. So you got like ninjas, pirates, dinosaurs, aliens, um, but yeah, zombies, and they all have different things that they can do. So like the zombies and there's one that's just plants. They have a tendency to reproduce. So you can have all these really a big horde of players that are players things that are working for you, but they're all really low in order to be able to defeat them. But yeah, that's the game that I was reduced or that I was introduced to. It was pretty good. Got the obligatory Chlulu set to it, and yeah,
Nice.
yeah, tons of different smash ups. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. So that was the role playing game that I've gotten into in the past.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't have anything for anyone else. We haven't gotten any messages for a while in regards to people that are getting into different things. So definitely make sure to shoot us a message on Twitter, where you can find us at IC Get Into This. Also, you can send us an email at icoulddgetintothis@gmail.com. Let us know what you're getting into. This is all stuff that's you're going to hear again, but I just want to make sure that you guys know that when we had this idea for this podcast, which, oh my God, it's going to be 1 year here.
Are we going to do it? We better get a cake.
What's that?
So we better get a cake.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. We're going to have to do that.
Everything. I'm just like, let's get a cake.
I was going to say.
Like, no joke. I'm going to send the refrigeration book finally to the printer on Friday. Getting a fucking cake.
Nice. Excellent. That's what you need. So we had this in mind to be able to not only talk about things that we get into, things that we find that we think is interesting, but we really want to hear from all of you. So definitely let us know things that you're getting into. Shoot us a message, get a hold of us somehow. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Can't think of anything right now.
You have any requests for next week or next show? We haven't really done a topic for a while.
No, we haven't really done a topic challenge. I mean, we kind of hit our usual, which are like movies, music, and food.
Yeah, exactly.
We
hit that pretty hard this time. What's that?
You know, it might be an interesting topic. History.
Oh, okay.
You know, we both enjoy like researching things and listening to podcasts. Maybe next time, maybe you can come up with either interesting book or podcast or movie, or maybe just a historical thing you found interesting that you're getting into.
Excellent. I like the
that.
idea.
It's a little off the wall, and it might be a fun one to throw out there to the Twitterverse and the Facebook people to see if anybody's got like, I don't know, a cool historical story that would be fun to get into.
Absolutely. There we go. Excellent. We got
fun.
Our plans for next show.
I'll try not to forget. Show, but I'm getting into things that happened.
Things some point. Happened in the past. Just give me a little bit while
totally not Googling things this. Right now. I'll do my homework, I promise.
All right. I will as well. So, all right.
Sounds
Have
good.
a good one.
Until next time.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.